All right, welcome to Running On Scuffs 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season in review. This is going to be just a quick little mini series that we do during the off season to kind of recap all the organization, all their different or teams seasons. So each organization will have its own video, or we'll have a couple smaller teams on a video together. This specific video here is going to cover all of the part-time teams. So any teams that's not associated with a full-time team, they will be in this video. So if you're looking for the 91 Trackhouse team or the 33 Richard Childress Racing team, they'll be in those bigger organizations videos later in this series. So just stay tuned. We'll definitely have that covered for you, and any future news as well. So let's just jump right into this. We're going to start at the bottom of the point series as far as ownerships and work our way to the top for all the part-time teams. So in that in that order, essentially, we're going to cover MBM Motorsports, which is the 55 and the 66 Ford, the New York Racing 44 Chevrolet, Team Hesburg Racing, which was the 26 Toyota and the 27 Ford, the Money Team Racing, or TMT Racing, as most people are calling it, which was the number 50 Chevrolet, and then Beard Motorsports, which was the 62 Chevrolet. So we'll get started here. MBM Motorsports, that is like I said, the two-car organization, two part-time car organization. It's owned by Carl Long, who's been around the Xfinity Truck Series, Cup Series for years. But they brought two cars to the Daytona 500 this year. Unfortunately, that was probably their season low, as both cars failed to qualify. Unfortunately, neither car was fast enough to get in on speed in qualifying. They were able to hold on to the draft. They just weren't able to get past enough cars to qualify for the big race in their respective duels. So, unfortunately, you bring two cars to Daytona. It's a chance you take, not qualifying, being an uncharted team. But that was probably their lowest point of the season. Going from that, though, they did turn their season around a little bit. They brought the 66 Ford to the Circuits of the Americas race, and Boris said ended up qualifying that car into the race and got them a 26th place finish. Um, 4 races later, JJ Yaley redeemed himself with the 55 Ford, and he qualified for the Talladega race with a season team best of 25th place finish. At the time of this recording, there are no announcements for the team. We do anticipate that they will be back next season in some capacity, most likely at least at the Daytona 500, as they've done pretty much the last 5, 6 seasons. They may bring one car, they may bring two, but if we get any news or updates on that, we'll definitely share that with you guys. Um, Next, after that, is going to be New York Racing. There's just kind of a big story to an extent leading up to the Daytona 500. Greg Biffle, who hasn't been in the Cup Series since 2016, made his return and made his Daytona 500 re-debut, I guess you would say, after a little hiatus that he had. He did qualify for the Daytona 500 as well as four of the other first 10 races of the season. So they did complete 5 races together as a team. Greg Biffle driving, of course, for the 44 Chevrolet. A little unique thing about them this season was that they were kind of sponsored by different HBCU universities and colleges. And so that was kind of cool seeing Grambling State and a couple different colleges on the car. Unfortunately, they didn't have a lot to really brag about. Like I said, they qualify for the 5 races. Unfortunately, um, they only led laps at one race, and that was the Las Vegas race. Before they had some technical issues or mechanical issues, and then they did turn it around a little bit. They ended up with a top 20 finish, or top 30 finish, the only top 30 finish of their season, with a 20th place finish at Atlanta, before running one more race at Talladega and kind of just shutting it down for the season, unfortunately. Don't have any news as far as if they'll be back, when they'll be back, or anything like that. So we we do hope to hear some of that soon. But as of right now, we don't have any updates as far as 2023 is concerned. I would anticipate to see them show up again. It's a team that kind of just has a tendency to always kind of get back into things after taking a little break. So I expect to see them back at some point. Next on the list is going to be Team Hezeberg. This is another small team that brings two cars to the track sometimes. Um, they showed up at the Daytona 500 for their first ever Cup Series race, and they did qualify with Jacques Villeneuve, who's raced a little bit of NASCAR in the past, as well as IndyCar and F1 as well. But the Daytona 500 was kind of their high of the season. Um, like I said, Jacques Villeneuve did qualify for the race, and he ended up bringing home the team's best finish of 22nd after qualifying 27th for that race. Um, that was his only race with the team. Loris Hezemans, which is their NASCAR Euro driver, because this team is actually owned by a team from the Euro Series. He actually ran 5 road courses for them in the Cup Series in that 27 Ford, including the races at Coda, Road America, Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and the Roval and Charlotte there. And unfortunately, not a lot to write home about with his efforts. His best finish was two 33rd place finishes. Um, they did, like I said earlier, bring 2 cars to the track. So for the last 3 road courses of the season, which was the Indy Road Course, Watkins Glen, and the Charlotte Roval, they did bring a second car for, I believe the name is Danielle Kayet. Um, Sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, but he ran the 27 Toyota or 26 Toyota, sorry, at those 3 road courses with 2 36 place finishes being his best efforts. Again, we don't have any updates on this team for the 2023 season, but we do anticipate them back in some capacity, um, running at least some road courses with Hezemans, and possibly some other races from there. Next on our list is going to be the Money Team Racing. This is the number 50 Chevrolet that ran a few races earlier in the season. Um, Kaz Grala ran for them, as well as Connor Daly. Kaz Grala ran 3 races for the team: the Daytona 500, the Coda Road Course, and the Coca-Cola 600. He did end up with a 23rd place finish, which is the team's best effort of the season. And that was in the Coca Cola 600 back in May. And like I said, Connor Daly also ran a race for them at the Charlotte Roval. That was his Cup Series debut, and he finished 34th in his one race. Um, no official announcements for 2023 yet. Kind of like with the other teams so far, I expect to see them back, but don't have any specifics as far as who, what, when, or where, or anything like that. So I would expect them to be back at the 500 next year, Daytona, in February, but we shall see when we get there. Finally, last but not least, Beard Motorsports, probably the biggest little team that there is, with just one full-time employee. But they ran 4 races this year, kind of back to their old schedule that they had pre-COVID, where they ran the 2 races at Talladega and the 2 races at Daytona. Noah Gragson was slated to run those 4 races for them, but due to him being a substitute driver for Alex Bowman, he didn't run the fall Talladega race. So Justin Allgaier substituted for him, and finished 30th in that race. Um, they did qualify for the Daytona 500. They did qualify for all the races that they attempted. The team's best effort was actually the, I guess, late summer um, regular season finale at Daytona, where they started dead last of the field, which was 37th, and actually finished with their team's best career finish, which was a 5th place finish. It was the team's first ever top 5 or top 10, top 5. And so definitely that team kind of got their high of highs so far. This is one of the teams that actually has already made announcements for 2023. They announced that Austin Hill, who is a current RCR Xfinity Series driver, He's going to run 6 races with them, so they're stepping up and adding 2 more races to their normal schedule. So of course they're going to run the 4 super speedways like always, but they added on the Chicago Street Course, which is going to be the July 4th weekend there in Chicago, as well as the Michigan race in August. So we look forward to seeing them expand their schedule, and hopefully grow into a great little team with that one full time employee that they do have. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, but we will have more coming up. The next couple videos will be the non-playoff teams. So any of the teams in the Cup Series that did not make the playoffs, the first video will be the teams that went winless, unfortunately, for the 2022 season, followed up by the teams that won uh, Cup Series races, and then after that, we'll get into the playoff teams and organizations. So stay tuned. We have lots of off-season content coming to you guys. But as always, thanks for listening and tuning in, and hope to see you guys soon.